Hello everyone, I'm Jolt King 627, and today we're going to be reviewing a 3D printed kit for the Nerf Stinger by Nothin Blasters. So this kit is called the S.P.U.P.E, the S.P.U.P.E Springer Pro Ultra Platinum Edition. It's kind of a meme name, but whatever. Essentially what it does is it takes one of these Nerf Alpha Strike Stingers. You can get these pretty much anywhere for like $3. They are super duper cheap, and it gives it a Picatinny rail. There are two versions. There is one with a single rail, which is the preferred version for me, and then there is a triple rail variant, which has, of course, 3 rails. What the kit also does is it gives you the opportunity to put brass on the end. So both of these have brass, and you can shove in a half dart, and it actually gives you a small performance boost. I noticed a definite increase in range. Now, you can definitely keep the full-length compatibility that the original Stinger had by just not using brass, like I have done on this one. This is one that I custom painted up in some nice red with an orange tip. It may be slightly louder, but it will still get a good 30 feet joltish performance, so it works just fine if you don't have any brass. So, obviously, the purpose of these rails is to add tactics. I don't have very many Picatinny attachments, but I do have the Nexus sight, which is, well, a little bit loose. It works, so now you have a super nice iron sight. Or, of course, for supreme silliness, you could put a foregrip on top of your Jolt. Now, as far as comfort goes, as in ergonomics, the single rail variant is my personal favorite. It is an improvement over the actual Stinger blaster in this area right here, where the webbing of my hand is. It's much more comfortable there, because this shell thing on the original just digs into my hand. It's really nasty, and it wants to, like, pop up every time you prime it. The triple rail variant is slightly less comfortable than the single rail variant, not in the fact that the back area is any different, that part is the same, but because your fingers can run into the side rails. Now, that's just fine for most people. It's just something to note that it's very, very slightly less comfortable. Before I go ahead and give you a very quick guide on how to put one of these together, let's go ahead and see the 3 of these that I've built so far firing. Alright, first off we've got a couple of the regular Stingers, just to compare to. Not too shabby. But now for the modded ones. This is one with brass, so half darts. Now a triple rail variant, also with half darts. And finally, the painted one with no brass, firing full-length darts. Alright, so now that you've seen these fire, I'm going to show you how to assemble one of these. It's really very simple. As far as what you're going to need for this build, minus, of course, any tools you may need to do so, you're going to need, of course, your Alpha Strike Stinger. You're going to need the 3D printed pieces, some 1730 seconds brass, about 1.5 inches or so of it. You're going to need some form of glue. I'm going to be using Gorilla Glue Super Glue. And you are going to need a number 4 screw about 1 inch long, although I am sure there are a few other screws that would also work. First order of business will, of course, be to open up your Stinger. So now with the packaging tossed aside, we can also toss aside our Elite Darts. It won't really fire these very well when we're done with it. And we can start working on our Stinger. First thing you're going to want to do is get this big yellow shell piece off. You can sometimes just yank it off, or if you can be smart, you can use a small flathead and just pry that tab out, because we won't care about what happens to this, so if it looks bad, that's okay. It's all bent up, but who cares? We're eating that. And that leaves you with this on the inside. Next order of business, we're going to remove the air restrictor and back cap assembly. So you can probably use that same flathead screwdriver to pop the tab and remove it. Some will have plastic AR springs, some will have metal. This one had metal. Either way, you throw away all 3 of those pieces. Next, you can remove the dart peg by getting in there with pliers and just twisting it out if possible. Done. Now I have rammed a piece of dead Nerf foam down the barrel, and I'm going to put this back cap pack back on for now because we're about to do some cuts, and it's nice to have the original lubricant in here. We don't want to get a whole bunch of plastic shrapnel in it. Hopefully that will stop most of it from getting in there. Alright, so now it's time to start making some more permanent changes. We need to cut parts off of the stinger. We need to cut off this top part here that held on the old shell, and we need to cut the barrel off right here at the front of this piece. So that should be pretty easy. Alright, now we can just clean it up a little bit with some sanding. We are also going to file a little bit off the top here just to make sure it sits in there properly, and we have to file off the little nubs on the side that hold the original back cap on because they interfere with the printed piece. Alright, so the next step we're going to be doing is we're going to be super gluing on this back cap. So when we do that, while the glue is still drying, we are going to get this piece and pop it on there and screw it in to make sure that we can get this nice and straight, because you don't want your rail at an angle. All the way around here, and all around there. Lots of glue. And now we can just slot that on the back. Use a tissue to get all of that excess super glue off. Then we can very quickly try and get our barrel on there. Screw it tight and make sure we have it on straight. There we go. Now we can check, is it straight? No, it is not. That looks good to me. Now, we're going to let this dry for a little while. Alright, this seems to be dry enough now. It is holding an air seal decently well, so now we are going to do the final step and put our brass in. So we can just push it down, and then we're going to find a hard surface and just smash it on in there. Done. And that's about it. You're done. You can now load up a half-length dart if you have chosen to go with brass and blast away. Or if you've chosen to not have brass, you can load up your full-length dart and have lots of fun. So, final thoughts? I think Nothin Blasters did a very, very nice job on these. They're pretty easy to put together, and if you use brass, they get you a little bit of a performance boost. They're more comfortable than the original Stinger, and honestly, a whole lot of fun. I'll have a link down in the description box below to the Thingiverse page with the files for these if you want to print one out yourself. I highly recommend these. I've already installed 3 of these kits, including this one that I painted red, and I've actually got 2 more of the triple rail variants in orange from Nothin Blasters, so I'll be installing those as well for a grand total of 5 of these. After all, there's no such thing as too many jolts. Anyway, that's about it. If you have any comments or suggestions, please make sure to let me know in the comment section down below. Make sure to like and subscribe, and thank you all for watching.